here's what the Affordable Care Act means for you. If you're one of the vast majority of Americans who already have health care, you already have new benefits you didn't before, like free mammograms and contraceptive care with no copay, and discounts on prescription medicine for seniors. You've already got new protections in place too, like no more lifetime limits on your care, no more discriminating against children with pre-existing conditions like asthma, or being able to stay on your parents' plan until you turn 26. That's all in place and available to Americans with health insurance right now. If you don't have health insurance, or if you buy it on the individual market, then starting this Tuesday, October 1st, you can visit healthcare.gov to find what's called the Health Insurance Marketplace in your state. This is a website where you can compare insurance plans side by side the same way you'd shop for a TV or a plane ticket. You'll see new choices and new competition. Many of you will see cheaper prices, and many of you will be eligible for tax credits that bring down your costs even more. Nearly 6 in 10 uninsured Americans will be able to get coverage for $100 or less. If you're one of the up to half of Americans with a pre-existing condition, these new plans mean your insurer can no longer charge you more than anybody else. They can't charge women more than men for the same coverage, and they take effect on January 1st. So get covered at healthcare.gov and spread the word. These marketplaces will be open for business on Tuesday no matter what. The Affordable Care Act is one of the most important things we've done as a country in decades to strengthen economic security for the middle class and all who strive to join the middle class. And it's going to work. That's also one of the reasons it's so disturbing that Republicans in Congress are threatening to shut down the government, or worse, if I don't agree to gut this law. Congress has two responsibilities right now: pass a budget on time and pay our bills on time. If Congress doesn't pass a budget by Monday, the end of the fiscal year, the government shuts down, along with many vital services the American people depend on. On Friday, the Senate passed a bill to keep the government open. But Republicans in the House have been more concerned with appeasing an extreme faction of their party than working to pass a budget that creates new jobs or strengthens the middle class. And in the next couple of days, these Republicans will have to decide whether to join the Senate and keep the government open, or create a crisis that will hurt people for the sole purpose of advancing their ideological agenda. Past government shutdowns have disrupted the economy. This shutdown would too. At a moment when our economy has steadily gained traction and our deficits have been falling faster than at any time in 60 years, a shutdown would be a purely self-inflicted wound. And that's why many Republican senators and Republican governors have urged Republicans in the House of Representatives to knock it off, pass a budget, and move on. This brings me to a second responsibility that Congress has. Once they vote to keep the government open, they also have to vote within the next couple of weeks to allow the Treasury to pay the bills for the money that Congress has already spent. Failure to meet this responsibility would be far more dangerous than a government shutdown. It would be an economic shutdown, with impacts not just here, but around the world. Unfortunately, some Republicans have suggested that unless I agree to an even longer list of demands, not just gutting the health care law, but things like cutting taxes for millionaires or rolling back rules on big banks and polluters, they'll push the button, throwing America into default for the first time in history, and risk throwing all of us back into recession. I will work with anyone who wants to have a serious conversation about our economic future, but I will not negotiate over Congress's responsibility to pay the bills it has already racked up. I don't know how to be more clear about this. No one gets to threaten the full faith and credit of the United States of America just to extract ideological concessions. No one gets to hurt our economy and millions of innocent people just because there are a couple of laws that you don't like. It hasn't been done in the past, and we're not going to start doing it now. The American people have worked too hard to recover from crises to see extremists in their Congress cause another one. And every day this goes on is another day that we can't continue the work of rebuilding the American middle class. Congress needs to pass a budget in time, pay its bills on time, and refocus on the everyday concerns of the people who sent them there. That's what I'm focused on. That's what I'll keep fighting for. Thanks so much.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
You're listening to the AMB network. The future is now.
Stand together, stand tall, tell the government you're mad as hell, no longer cooperate with the government, do not accept the national ID card, do everything in your power to restore freedom and your individuality back to America. Stop being a country run by the institutions for the institutions. Let's go back to we the people, by the people, for the people, as opposed to we the institution, by the institution, for the institution. Stand up for your individual rights. Stand up for the godliness that's in each and every one of us.
Hey, what's up, YouTube? This is H139. I just wanted to talk about, this is going to be directly towards women, why they should be getting involved with taking back this country and help us to try to defeat the New World Order. And, I think they should be more involved than anything, because when shit hit the fans, it's not going to be a pretty picture. It's not going to be PG-13. It could get real crazy. And, I don't, here on YouTube, but I see a lot more men prepping more than anything. I don't see too many women prepping, or, if they are, good for them, but, I really don't see it on YouTube. There's more men doing this than anything. And I think women should be prepping just as much as the men here on YouTube. And, they should be having their guns, they should be having their food, they should be having all the necessary tools and everything they need to survive an economic collapse. It don't necessarily have to be an economic collapse. It could be a shutdown of a region, and the grid goes down, probably longer than what it's supposed to be. And these are things I wanted to talk about. I wrote down a few points. The number one thing, that I'm pretty sure that most people will agree with me on is that, is rape. There's going to be people out there there's going to be men out there that's going to try to rape women and stuff. Then there's going to be robberies, and there's going to be kidnappings. Those are the main three things that a lot of women should be watching out for when shit does hit the fans. Because, they're going to be more vulnerable to a lot of things that's going to happen, especially if they're not prepared. And, all this stuff may not happen when shit first hit the fans. It may not happen right then and there, but a lot of, you should really think about down the line. That's when, I say about, give it about 2 to 3 months, hunger, people going hungry and stuff, there's not enough food to go around, people's attitudes, they're going to change, they're going to lose focus, they're going to have no sense of morality, all this stuff down the line, they just, they're not going to, they're going to see that if the law, the law of the land falls, they're not going to have any type of morals to stick to, And not only that, but, a lot of men is going to be desperate. We're going to be in a lot of desperation, And, some a lot of their attitude is going to switch up. And it's important that, that a lot of women out there need to be prepared for situations like this, because you don't want to get caught out there, a man who could have been, who was a good person, ended up changing because of all the stuff that happened. I realized, the world came to an end. There's no hope for humanity and stuff like that. They're just gonna have a twisted mindset. And it's TV shows that's out there that shows that that kind of shows that a deterioration, a person's attitude deteriorating according to a situation that's happening in the world. And it's important that, you know, women do have guns. You know, you don't want to have those snub-nosed guns where you can stick in your purse and stuff. None of that's, you want to shoot the big guns. You want to have the regular pistols. You want to have the shotguns. You want to have all that. You know, especially if you're single. You know, you're a single mom. You got to look after your family. You know, can't just leave it all on the men all the time. You know, you got to be paired too. And another thing too, they should know what male figure they could trust when shit does hit the fans. Like, you know, your cousins, your brothers, your father, or your uncles or something like that. You know, those are the type of people that you need to you may need to rely on. If not, you know, you might have to rely on yourself. And you know, like, another thing I want to talk about, you know, try not to get too caught up with all this fashion, all the glitz and glamour, the makeup, the shoes, the clothing, the coats and stuff. Like, all that stuff is not going to matter when shit does hit the fans. Cause, like, you know, now, and I guarantee, like, most women, they're gonna understand that when shit does hit the fans, all that stuff is, it's just not going to matter no more. None of that stuff is going to save them for what is to come. And it's better to be prepared now. You know, get that stuff out of the way so you know you have some security when the stuff does happen, than to be, you know, to just be caught out there, you know. And this is the problem with the dumbed down public, you know. A lot of people are not, you know, they're not thinking down the line or what's going to happen 5 years from now, 10 years from now. They're not really thinking down the line. And they're not really preparing themselves. They're not even educating themselves, let alone preparing themselves. They're not even educating themselves. It's important that people do educate themselves about what's going on, or what to do in a situation if the economy collapses and stuff like that. You know, I just wanted to get that out there. You know, I'm not trying to scare a lot of women about what may happen or what's going to happen. I'm just trying to make them understand or refocus their vision and help them to protect themselves, you know. That's all I wanted. That's all I wanted to do. Like, to give them a heads up and help them take advantage of a situation that they can prevent in the near future. That's if all this stuff does happen, but it still is important that they do speak out against the New Order and help us in the fight with all this stuff that's going on, because they will have a major effect. You know, the Great Awakening happening through them, so I don't see why they shouldn't speak out against the government and help take back this country. And that's all I wanted to get out right now. You know, let me hear your comments about this. Is there women in your family or women that you know that's not preparing, that's single, and that don't know what they're doing, or what type of danger that is to come? You know, let me hear your comments about that. You know, that's all I wanted to talk about for now. Especially the ones that really looks good. You know, they got their bodies in shape. You know, they dress real nice. You know, they look real good. You know, you got to get ready. You know, you don't want to be caught out there. You don't want to be vulnerable when all this stuff happens. So I'll let you know for a reason. You know, you don't want to get caught out there and be hurt by all this stuff that's happening. You know, it's bad enough you'll get hurt emotionally about it, but getting hurt physically by all this stuff, you know, it's gonna mess you up.
Kentucky Senator Rand Paul has been detained by the TSA at the Nashville airport. He set off the alarms and refused a pat-down, so they detained him. He sent his dad a note about it, and it's become a big story out there. Now, if this had been Ron Paul, you couldn't really blame the TSA. You have to admit, Ron Paul almost sounds like an Islamic terrorist sometimes. But this wasn't. Gotcha. This was Rand Paul. Anyway, folks, the Republican